This is an ABP Life podcast.
A trigger warning before today's episode. There are mentions of physical abuse, rape, and harassment in this episode. Listeners' discretion is advised.
A 12-year-old child was gang raped and sodomized in Delhi's Seelampur area on Sunday. The accused, they're reported to be friends and cousins of the victim. It's brutal, I know. Every time we hear something like this, we get infuriated. We question the law and authority of the country. We take out protest march in support of the victim. In fact, I've been part of many demonstrations as well. But let me tell you one thing. The 12-year-old child who was gang raped is a boy. How do we feel now? Does it ignite a fire within us to take out a protest march? Are we questioning the law and authority of the country? Do we even have any law for males who have been victims of rape? I don't think so. Now, I don't want to make any judgment today. I'm not here to make any judgment. But I want to let you all know, how does the Indian law address rape for both males and females? Does Indian law even recognize that men can be raped too? And does the law of the land address this issue? Let's decode all of this today. So welcome to Clear Cut, only on ABP Live podcast. This is your newsman Rudrashish, and today, let's talk about males being the victim of sexual abuse. Now, in the horrifying Seelampur incident, the police have registered a case under Section 377 and 334. Now, Section 377 of the IPC stands for unnatural offences. That means whoever voluntarily has carnal intercourse against the order of nature with any man, woman, or animal shall be punished with imprisonment for life, or with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 10 years, and shall also be liable to fine. Now, Section 334 of the IPC stands for voluntarily causing hurt for provocation. Whoever voluntarily causes hurt on grave and sudden provocation, if he neither intends nor knows himself to be likely to cause hurt to any person other than the person who gave the provocation, shall be punished with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 1 month, or with fine which may extend to 500 rupees, or with both. Now, since the victim is a juvenile in this incident, a case has been registered under Section 6 of the POCSO Act as well. I believe you all know about POCSO Act, but in case you don't, POCSO stands for Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act. This act was enacted in 2012 when acts of sexual abuse against children were rising. It contains the provisions regarding the protection of children from sexual assault and pornography. Honestly, it's extremely unfair that we as a society view rape as an act where only a man violates a woman. According to Section 375 of the Indian Penal Code, rape is defined as penetration of penis to an extent into the vagina, mouth, urethra, or anus of a woman, or makes her to do so with him or any other person, or inserts to any extent any object or a part of the body not being the penis into the vagina, the urethra, or anus of a woman, or makes her to do so with him or any other person, or applies his mouth to the vagina, anus, urethra of a woman, or makes her to do so with him or any other person. International law has evolved from viewing it as just a penile vaginal to penile orifice to just penetrative orifice, but with a very important tag: non-consensual. It's not just us. Rape has a very limited definition. If we want to look at any statistics of male rape survivors, then we won't get any. India is not able to provide any numbers for statistical comparison. I guess because by legal definition, rape cannot be committed against men. However, according to the Center for Civil Society, the Indian government did a survey on children in 2007 who have experienced sexual abuse, including rape or sodomy. It came out in the report that 57.3% boys reported of sexual abuse. According to another survey done by the Center for Civil Society, approximately 18% of Indian adult men reported of being coerced or forced into having sex. Out of this 18%, 16% claimed a female perpetrator and 2% claimed male perpetrator. To sum it up, it's high time that we as a society make rape a gender-neutral crime. I want to highlight that we all know that women and men don't suffer rape in equal proportions. I know the ratio is not equal at all. I just want to make the society understand that rape should not be viewed as only a crime done by men. And now to give us a clear-cut take on this issue, we have Supreme Court lawyer Mr. Avnesh Verma joining us on the show today.
So welcome to Clear Cut, sir. It's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you.
So, sir, recently the gang rape of a 12-year-old child boy in Delhi has triggered a debate that should rape be viewed as a gender-neutral crime. So, I have a couple of questions for you. Starting, why do we as a society don't address sexual abuse on males seriously?
I'll tell you something. First of all, here is a question about, we are talking about is a 12-year-old boy. 12-year-old boy is something who's not attained the age of maturity.
Exactly.
And who's probably not aware of the things in an appropriate fashion, who's not been rightly, could be legally aware of many things which he could have. If he could have, then he would have taken an appropriate measures while for his safety or for his safeguard. All right, that is one aspect. Now, what your question comes is that whether males are protected or not, or whether there should be gender neutrality or not. So yes, definitely there should be. But in what perspective we are talking about? Are we talking about in general, or are we talking about the juveniles, or are we talking about like society in general? Because law is very vast. You need to be very peculiar about choosing your aspects when we deal about situations.
Exactly. So, do you think currently the law of the land should constitute strict laws to address this issue and figure out ways to promote this in the society as well?
Well, there are many aspects to it. If you consider about this particular case, well, yes, definitely it's a crime. Because in my eyes, any kind of rape is wrong, is bad in the eyes of law. And it should not be permitted, right?
Exactly.
But you need to figure out to make stringent laws and policies and rules when you see such kind of acts which are going on, which are abhorrent, which are not acceptable at all in the society, and keeping them in mind, there should be developments in the law. Like in 2013, you could rightly see that after the Nirbhaya case, there were a lot of criminal law amendments which happened, right? And with respect to gender neutrality, if you specifically say so, then in 2018, the Constitutional Bench of the Supreme Court has rightly dealt with Section 377, and they have abolished, they have repealed that. Right. So this is how the situation is, and it's actually driving down to the right aspect of dealing the social human being.
Exactly. Now, sir, I don't want to. The whole show is about males being sexually abused, and we all know that women and men don't suffer rape in equal proportions. I know the ratio is not equal at all. Even women don't report cases of rape because of shame, because of society looking down upon them. But at the same time, do you believe that men don't report of sexual abuse because they fear of mockery or their masculinity being questioned?
Well, let's look at it this way, that first of all, what you are saying right now is about the punishment. I could relate it that okay, the equilibrium of punishment with respect to women when you compare it to men is more, right? But that is probably because we have always considered, our society has always considered that women needs more protection and males doesn't. Because male candidature or male human being is considered to be more dominant in the society.
Exactly.
That is why the level of protection has been considered to be less in terms of when you say so about a woman. And I would say that in current scenario, when law is in such a developing phase, and especially for a country who's having the largest democratic infrastructure, and the country is in need of such laws which can protect the gender in a neutral fashion.
Exactly.
Yes, because why? Because when courts are allowing such things like Section 377, like same-sex marriages or choosing a same-sex partners, then subsequently there should also be a framework which could protect them with the abuse of those conditions.
Exactly. Now,
Yes. Now coming to your next question, whether it should be whether the male person is shy to come before the police stations or for filing a complaint about, just because they could be termed into a mockery, or probably their masculinity will be in question. So you can say so that if you compare it to a scenario where a girl is being dealt, then it's the same thing. Like if you say so that if a girl is being raped, do you find that it is easy for a girl to come before a police station right away and say that I am being raped? No.
Exactly.
It has never been easy. It is one of the most difficult aspects, I would say so. But yes, because of the awareness of law, development of the social change, and media and people like you who are coming up with the awareness programs such as this one, it is making people aware of the situation that they could really go to the court, they could really go to the police station, and they could take the right legal steps and remedies for protecting their own life, their respect, their modesty in the society.
Exactly. Even according to a report by Center for Civil Society, the Indian government did a survey on children in 2007 who have experienced sexual abuse, including rape, and 57.3% boys reported of sexual abuse.
All right. So where are we going through with this?
This shows that boys, especially boys, children below the age of 15, often go through sexual abuse, but these cases are unreported.
Yeah, they are unreported because first of all they are juvenile. Second, that they are unaware of their aspects and law, that how and where they should be appropriately been approaching, so that they could get the proper remedy out of their problem. What is that? You have shown me, you have been telling me about the reports of the abuse. Are you also having reports clearly saying about the awareness of these kids with respect to their own laws of their own land? What is the percentage of the students they are aware of our constitution, our criminal law, our Indian Penal Code, or the procedure? Probably, I am not saying that it is their job to read, but it is the point of the basic awareness should be provided through the educational system of this country.
Exactly.
So that's where the key would be opening the right doors for this problem, for the solution of this problem.
Since you pointed out this, back when, because of COVID, all the schools had to go remote learning was there. And I was helping my cousin who is around 6 years old with his online classes. And he had a chapter called Good Touch and Bad Touch. So that surprised me. I mean, the education system is evolving slowly but steadily. But that chapter caught my eye, and I wanted to talk about it.
I'm surprised to say that Good Touch and Bad Touch was earlier limited only to teach the girl child.
Exactly. I read about that it was only limited to girls in the school. It was only taught to girls in the value education class.
Why not boys? Are they not supposed to learn about how they should be in a habitat where they are into a co-ed education system, and how they need to be behaving with their colleague or student?
Classmates, yes, exactly.
Classmates. Huh?
Exactly.
They also need the similar kind of education. Why not?
Exactly. And so this brings me to my last question. What steps should be taken to make rape a gender-neutral crime?
See, as I earlier also mentioned, that rape, first of all, in itself is a very, very brutal and a wrong thing. It is something which is against somebody's wish. All right? It is not a consensual aspect. There is no consensual aspect when you talk about rape.
Exactly.
So the word itself is being protected in the law, in the eyes of law, that if somebody has been raped. Now the question comes is that you need to prove how you will come forward to that. That aspect is the basics where we should be talking about today. In such a large number of youngsters, the youth of this country, where they should be addressed with such an educational policy that it should become a society community service sort of an aspect where somebody who's aware of something should be teaching, or as a community service to the youngsters, to the young ones, that okay, this is bad and this is good, and if something bad is happening with you, you should be approaching to this particular authority or this particular teacher or this particular forum or this particular legal forum, all right, so that they could be addressed in the right sense. And they should be taught in such a fashion that they should not consider themselves that meri to बेइज्जती हो गई, I am not in a position to express myself and I will not be in a position to stay in the society anymore. Because all of these things are the questions when such things happen with some individual.
Exactly.
So this is the right time where it needs to be intervened, and it should be taught from the very beginning to a male child and to a girl child both.
In a nutshell, we all have a role to play in this. Not just the law of the land, but also the people of the society.
It's the society. Law is for the society, for the protection of society. Now, what society wants is a development, all right? And that development requires a right direction, which amounts to social change. And therefore, we can address the law of social change.
Exactly. Well, sir, thank you so much for your precious time. It was a pleasure speaking to you on this pressing issue.
Thank you so much for considering me as a person to talk on this topic.
It was a pleasure, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Most welcome.
So that's all the news and scoops I have for you today. This episode was produced by Lalit. This is your newsman Rudrashish Kanjilal signing off. Have a great day ahead and keep listening to ABP Live podcasts.
This is an ABP Live podcast.